You're live, King.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I will have my cam on in a little bit. But y'all could stare at that beautiful UBD under Big Dogs logo that we worked so hard to perfect. Simple yet beautiful. As we get started here, we're gonna give some potential guests a chance to come onto the show to discuss our first topic with us.
Well, that's why we got the
Um,
sports newses of the week, to give the people a few minutes to get in here.
yes, get into the sports news of the week.
Yeah, yeah,
Get
I
into it.
gotcha. First big thing of the end, it was probably the biggest thing of the weekend. Josh Jacobs signed a $12 million deal to stay with the Raiders. We've been waiting for news on Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor in specific, and it's official. He signed a $12 million deal with the team. It's just 1 year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. But just like Saquon Barkley, they took like a similar approach. Josh Jacobs and Saquon, almost identical deals. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them over the next next couple years. What you got any thoughts on that? You like the deal? 12 million? Was that good enough? Not good enough?
Uh,
What you think? Quick take on that.
well, well, it's not long term. It's not a long term deal, and
Yeah.
that's what these running backs are really searching for. So it's unfortunate in that retrospect, but it's a deal that he signed nonetheless, and that he's all decided, hey, I'm back with the team. I'm going to play on this 1 year deal. It is what it is, and so that's what we got. But they really want the longevity though. That's what they really want.
I think both do. I think even Josh Jacobs would probably prefer to sign long term with them. I think he likes being a Raider. They were just underpaying him, or they're just not treating him the way he thought he should be treated. So
Yeah,
hopefully
and
they
even
smooth.
still, even still, they're not treating him how you want to be treated. I think he knew what he was doing from day one, as far as not holding out. He was just taking the necessary you know um stance. Like, it's like the standard, like, for agents, that what agents suggest to their players. Just It's just sort of like just simple business tactics and standards that you do in the way you go about negotiations, and that's all he was doing at the end of the day. It seemed like, because he's back now, and it's there's no, for at least for this season, they got an agreement.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the biggest news of the weekend, really. But FIBA started as well. Another quick news segment here. USA beat Greece and they moved to the second round. We're going to talk more in depth about this USA team and how they played and how they are playing. So good luck to USA. They in the second round. Another CJ Stroud. This was kind of imminent, but you got to report on it because it is news. CJ Stroud is officially named the Texans starter for the NFL season. So we got Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud all drafted in the top five, all going to start in the NFL this year. Very interesting season when it comes to the rookie quarterbacks. What you think about that?
What else were you gonna do? I
True.
mean,
Yeah.
he didn't play particularly well, but what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I agree. So it'll be interesting to see how they play in the regular season. They got a good running game, the Texans. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But more news. Holdout for multiple players still going on. One in particular is massive. Nick Bosa is still holding out for the San Francisco 49ers. Still no deal yet. I personally thought this was gonna be over by now, but now it's getting a little weird. Do you think he'll be? Do you think the Niners? Do you think that'll end before the season starts?
Um, wow. To not have reported all training camp. Um, is a big deal. To not have reported all training camp is a big deal. So I have no idea where this is going to take a turn. As we welcome in Batman, thank you for joining the show today. And I want everybody to understand yet again. I want everybody to understand something. Like for the most part, this is how I'm on the show. For the most part, I'm on the show on my phone on Discord. I think Batman, I want to say he uses his iPad. That like you can be anywhere, driving, working out, running errands, and be on the show just the same way Batman just appeared on the show. You could be anywhere and join the show, and be on the show during whatever topic you want to be on. So if you're watching the show on your device and you're out, if you're watching the show and you're out on your device and you see a topic you want to be in on, the instructions to join the show, we have it on YouTube. We have it on our social media pages. We have it in our story on Instagram. So let's just make sure, we take advantage of a sports show that was created and designed, for you, for sports fans, for us. Right. And so that's it. But go ahead. Next little bit of short news. Welcome in, Batman.
Yeah, last news of the day before we get into the main topics of the show. Bit of good news for this one. Bronny James going to make a full recovery. It's has a heart defect that they are going to get. I think they're looking at surgery for it. It's nothing
Oh,
major.
they said he's gonna be on back on the court playing very soon.
Yeah,
Like that's quote.
yeah,
So
Oh,
that's the main thing we got to make sure we understand about that is end quote. He's gonna be on the court very soon, which is insane, which is beautiful because we thought at least a year, like at
yeah.
least.
It's just some form of heart defect that doctors are saying they can fix. So good news for the LeBron James family, and the
Hopefully he's
dream
on the
the
court
dream
this
for
year.
Bron and Bronny to play together is still alive, man. Still alive, damn. So we'll
want
see.
I want to I want to see him play. I want to see him play this year in college basketball. Like I want to see how he does at that
there's
level.
that
Man,
process.
USC is a really exciting school this year, huh? With Caleb Williams and Bronny James over there. It's an
Yeah,
exciting.
I
USC's
want
trying
to
to get back into glory. USC, because
I
oh
want I
man,
want I
True.
want to I want to see Bronny play at the college level. I want to
Yeah.
see if he's I want to see if he's good at that level.
there
Yeah.
has not been there has not been a superstar in that USC school since Reggie Bush. So like, I'm definitely excited to see him play over there and make a name for himself with that school. But yeah, so let's get into the main topics of the show. First topic we got today. I don't know if anybody was watching FIBA this morning, but or it might have been yesterday morning because I know the time difference is
So,
they're
right.
doing it in the Philippines, so it's you gotta like wake up like super early to watch. But
Good country.
um yeah, Austin Reeves leads the way as Team USA advances here in the second round. Um, the question is, how good is Austin Reeves?
So yeah, he leads the way. And it seems like he's leading this team, in scoring and playmaking ability. Like he's doing he's there like he that like USA is benefiting a lot from his play. He's leading in statistical categories. This is just a great question. Like Batman, you got some?
The only thing I have is I didn't see so much of him in a regular season. Now, I know him and everything, but everybody's is shining during this FIBA basketball tournament. Everybody is. Because look, they're playing other countries that's that um
Yeah,
not that skillful in basketball. They want to participate in the FIBA. Who don't? What country don't? But Austin Reeves now what he's doing is what everybody else is doing is making this their show. This is making them show what they actually could do in the NBA if you give them that chance. Now, um, as far as when he gets play time in the NBA, that's yet to be seen. But this is a great time to put on your showcase of, yo, look, I can actually ball, but then the NBA is always going to say, but look who you played. You played teams like Greece. You played teams like, Dominican Republic, stuff like that. And no disrespect to those countries and their basketball skills, because there's few that actually came out of these places and played in the NBA. But that as a whole, they're not playing NBA players. They're playing guys that got together. They probably played some type of ball, and that's that. So you only could take it for what it is now. But doing the same thing in the NBA, it's yet to be seen. But this is a good showcase for him, because now, like JB taking a step back, the same thing is Josh Hart. He said he didn't even score yet in his whole thing. So he said he don't want to. As long as we win, that's what's up. JB taking a step back, so what? He don't care as
Yeah,
long as
Anthony Edwards says is averaging like 10 points.
yeah.
So far.
As long
That
as we
always happens.
as long as we win. Because Jay Brunson could just go off if he want to. But that's not what he's there for. He don't got to showcase it. He already showed it last year with the Knicks. And now Austin Reed, good for him. But don't be the NBA scouts is looking at it like, okay, look at the quality of teams they've been playing. So that's what I got.
I mean, and I love what you're saying, because the competition is, it's not the NBA. And so I hear you on that. It's just the fact that you have so much cerebral talent on the team, and for him to be shining and standing out amongst the group, to me it says something. When you look at, when he was, 2019-2020 season, when he was at Oklahoma Sooners, averaged 14.7 points as a junior, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and then shooting 48% from two pointers, and 250 and 25% from 3, which is not that great. His senior year there at Oklahoma, he averaged 18.3 points per game,
What is
5.5 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game, shooting 50% from the field with 2 pointers and 30% from the field with 3. So it's not like even though I want to say it, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody in the chat, I want to say he went undrafted, but for somebody, just because he went undrafted, one, we see somebody tell me the number amount of undrafted players the Miami Heat had in the playoffs this season. I want to say that number was at least, I want to say it was like 6 to 8 players on that roster were all undrafted players.
Wow.
So we're obviously in precedent times. We're obviously in times in 2023 where if you want it, whatever you want, you can get. We're literally in that time. And I think this is one of those situations where an undrafted guy is seizing the moment, and he's working his tail off to be great. You got 2 seasons here in college. 14.7 points a game is you don't in college. That's good numbers in college. Derrick Rose averaged less than that in college. Bradley, it's a lot of guys that averaged less than that in college. 18.3 points per game his senior year. Definitely a lot of superstars that we know averaged less than that in their in their days in college. And so that's for college, that's high marks. And to come now into the NBA, it shows in college he wasn't that great a 3-point shooter, and to now all of a sudden he was a great 2-point player. He was a great mid-range shooter, a great driver. Everybody gets surprised by his ability to drive the ball and make plays at the rim and finish circus-like layups and make tough floaters in the lane and his step back mid-range shot. Everybody gets a little like, whoa, I didn't know. That's what his game was in college. The eye-popping stat for me is the 3-point shooting percentage in college, which was 25% his junior year, 30% his senior year. now in the NBA has risen to 40%, and we know 40% is a great number in the NBA for your 3-point shooting percentage. So to be shooting at a 40% clip in the NBA from three and
Impressive.
still maintain his 2-point field goal percentage of now he's at 52% on 2-point field goals made and 40% on 3-point field goals made just lets me know in only his second year undrafted just lets me know how much work he actually is putting in to his game. And I have a question to raise because I'm seeing these numbers, I'm seeing the vast improvements, and we're just waiting for the Lakers to make another like big signing. Is Austin Reeves possibly the guy that can be the next, the guy? Like we're looking for like a James Harden or Damian Lillard. Like, can Austin Reeves be for the Lakers what we're like not even considering? Can he be that legitimate third option after LeBron and AD to step up and when it matters in the playoffs and be a third guy, averaging about 15 to 20 points a game and making clutch shots and being the reason why they can possibly win a title this season? Can he be that?
I think he's already showing that. He in the Denver series they did lose. He averaged 21 points a game in the Denver series. So
Yeah, because everybody's waiting for the Lakers
I think
to
he already
sign
is.
or to make a trade for a number 3 option.
It's understandable.
He's trying to be that. He's trying to see in LeBron, he tweeted after, some exhibition games that they had before, the actual games that count in this FIBA tournament, before the games that count USA exhibition games.
Exhibition, yeah.
After it was either their first or second exhibition game, LeBron tweeted saying, Austin Reeves, you are him. And I know I don't know if y'all seen that in the tunnel. One of the Philippines fans yelled down to Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves, it says in like a funny English accent, like, Austin Reeves, you are him, right? And so his teammate from Minnesota, what's his name? Anthony
Edward.
or
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edward mate was kind of played on the joke because he was standing next to Austin Reeves when the fan yelled that. And so Anthony Evans was like, Austin Reeves, you are him. Austin Reeves, you are him. So he was teasing him on the way to the locker room in that funny accent and was saying, so it's like, are we missing something with Austin Reeves that I'm like that I'll be honest, I'm even overlooking. Like I'm trying to now bring
I don't
myself to thinking, is he possibly better than what we're giving him credit for?
I think we might be overreacting a little bit. There's one thing that we're missing in this here. LeBron makes everybody around him better. So I don't know if Austin Reeves would have these numbers on another basketball team. LeBron is just that type of guy that makes everybody around, literally everybody. You could be a bum. You come to the Lakers and play with LeBron.
I agree with that. But when most of Austin Reeves plays though come from situations when LeBron just gives him the ball and LeBron is standing somewhere in a corner or on the wing just letting him do him. A lot of times when LeBron makes teammates better, it's because of a pass he made that started a trickle-down effect of swing passes after that led to an open shot. Like he's legit isolating, taking the ball and going into straight isolation mode and doing dudes in. Like he is doing his thing. I want to see. He only averaged 13 this past season.
Well, let me
in the
ask you.
playoffs, he averaged 17 points per game, on 44% shooting from 3, 50% shooting from 2, which is to average 17 in the playoffs. So,
let's answer your question, and that's what I'm trying to get at, because you asked us if the Lakers are looking for another piece. I think they got it. I think, to answer your question, just because of the numbers that you just said, I was gonna get there. I have the stats for each series combined. In the Memphis series, first round, he averaged 16.5. Very respectable. Very respectable. Very respectable. The numbers were a little low in the Golden State series, but I mean, when it mattered the most, even though they did lose that series, Western Conference Finals, everything on the line, Austin Reeves showed up. He showed up. There might have been way other different reasons why they lost that series and got swept in that series that we could get deep into. But if you look at just Austin Reeves' numbers in that series, he shot 56% in the Western Conference Finals from three. 56%. 21.3.
That's the eye-popping number for me. When in college, he struggled very, very much to shoot the
And
three.
take you struggle with something you don't practice, King.
And it's not that he wasn't shooting in the Western Conference Finals. I want to really reiterate these numbers here. Western Conference Finals, Game 1, 5 for 9 from 3, 23 points. Game 2, 5 from 9 from 3, 22 points. Game 3, 3 of 5, 23. He only shot 2 in Game 4, but he was shooting threes. So that 56% is not inflated. It's not because he only shot 4 or 5 attempts. He was knocking down shots. 54% from the 2-point range as well. Against Denver, the best team in the NBA.
Normally, when guys have a season like Austin Reeves just had, they come back with more confidence, with more freedom. Also, with more freedom. Most importantly, with more confidence, more freedom within the flow of the game to do him. I want to see if he's able to make. And it's going to take me at least the first, maybe the quarter of the season to kind of monitor it. I want to see the kind of jump he takes as a player for this team on a game in and game out basis to see that they got a third.
If he can average 15 or 16 for this team, that'd be huge.
I just want to see how he does it though. The fashion that he goes about averaging that 16 to 18 points per game.
Definitely give you 16 to 18 points.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. To average that, I feel like he can do that. I just want to see how he does it. I want to see, in what stretches of the game he does it. Does he do it in the fourth quarter? Because if he does it in the fourth quarter where he's knocking down perimeter shots, because we know LeBron struggles to make perimeter shots in the clutch. AD struggles to make perimeter shots in the clutch. And so they need a guy who can take it off the dribble and make clutch mid-range perimeter shots in the fourth quarter for them to close games. I want to see if he's capable.
I do too.
Yeah. What do we got?
We will move on. That was a fun little take.
Oh, we could go quick on this next topic, but this is a fun topic as well. And I just want to know
how good would the USA roster be in the NBA right now? They'd win a chip.
You think the USA roster would win an NBA championship with that team?
Actually, probably not because of what are they looking like at the center position? It's slow, right?
You talk about this USA FIBA team.
This USA FIBA team. How good would they be in the NBA if this was a roster?
All young players.
They would.
I don't think they would get beat like the way you think. I think they would definitely make a run.
No. In a series, they would get beat. I'm not saying they will sweep them or anything. And then possibly a different team.
Who are we comparing them to?
I agree. To Denver, Golden State, Lakers, Phoenix, Milwaukee, Boston. I don't think.
You don't think the constant offense in today's NBA, just it doesn't matter who they start, because the bench is going to be better than your bench 1,000%, 1,000,000%. The bench is going to just shit on teams,
and not convincingly though. Not convincingly.
Tyrese Halliburton coming off the bench is scary, bro. That doesn't make sense.
Tyrese Halliburton he's good, but he's not he don't put fear in my heart as to a guy that is going to be the reason why a team end up losing. Let's look at it. I mean, I don't know if you got it up on the live, but you got Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, 2 great players, right? After those 2 players, which one of these Brandon Ingram?
They got Paolo Banchero too.
Paolo Banchero is a rookie. He's a rookie. He's going into his second going into his second year, he's nowhere near polished enough yet to even be considered, in like as far as a championship, know what it takes to win a chip.
But read the
I'm talking
bench.
about
Read that bench.
I'm
Read that
talking
bench.
about when it comes to the playoffs, who's gonna fold, who's gonna rise. Only people I see that's gonna rise in a tight situation, Jalen Brunson. Anthony Edwards froze this past playoffs when they had to go up against Minnesota. Who did Minnesota play first round? Denver. He played horribly in that first round. So I don't see
They're
how
just
Anthony
really
Edwards,
small.
even
They're
though he's very talented, I don't
too
see how he
small.
can step up. Brandon Ingram is a very, very good talent. We know that. But let's talk like when we talk about playoffs, man. I don't see any guy on here besides Jalen
They're
Brunson.
poor.
Listen,
They're
I
Jalen
poor.
don't
Brunson.
listen. I disagree with you talent wise. I think they could compete. But when
They
it comes to
compete.
winning games in the playoffs, they're too small. They're
They're
way
too
too
small.
small.
They're too
They're way
small
too
But
small.
and
they're-
inexperienced.
I'd agree with
it's-
that.
Inexperienced.
Who's the best player on that team?
I gotta go with Jalen Brunson, honestly. Over Anthony Edwards, over Brandon Ingram, over Jaren Jackson.
not scared. I go
No,
with
it's
Jalen Brunson.
funny, King, and I had an argument with Jess about this over the phone, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I really like Tyrese Halliburton as a basketball player.
No, Tyrese Halliburton is
I
a really
think
good
personally he's the best player on that team.
He made it to an All-Star game last year in the East over Jalen Brunson. So but a lot of people know that was a
You think
snug.
Jalen Brunson is better
Yes.
than Anthony Edwards?
Yes. The only reason why I think Jalen Brunson is better than Anthony Edwards, even though we know Anthony Edwards is more talented, we get that. It's just as a player though,
Team leader.
this game of basketball is way more than talent, way
Is
more.
Anthony Edwards better
it's-
than Halliburton?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Of course. But it's just the game of basketball is more than talent. It's a lot of intangibles that go into the success of playing well at this game, and especially at that level. And so, yeah, Jalen Brunson to me, if I had to, if I had to
Man,
pick a
this
player,
roster is gonna destroy anybody's bench.
I would pick Anthony Edwards to start my team literally solely because of talent, and I'm just taking a chance on the better talent, not because I believe he's actually the better basketball player. And I think Jalen Brunson can actually lead a team, be one of the players that can lead a team to winning, as we know.
This team, man, I'm telling you,
he won 2 national titles in college. Like
this
that,
team, man, is going to absolutely obliterate the benches of those playoff teams. Though
my whole thing is
when
you talk about Jalen Brunson winning 2 national titles in college in a one-game elimination, one-game elimination tournament. To win a one-game elimination tournament once, let alone
he won twice.
Yes, 2 times.
Who? Wait,
Absolutely.
for what schools?
Villanova.
Villanova won 2
under Jalen Brunson. Yep,
okay.
That's a fact.
I remember
and
the
so,
one. I don't know about. I don't remember the second.
You sleep on the other one. Facts.
I'm definitely sleeping. I don't remember the other one.
But yeah, no, this team doesn't. I mean, they make it to the playoffs. Obviously, second round, they lose to me. This roster doesn't feel like anything.
They are going to outscore the opposing team bench though by like 30 points.
But the thing is though,
like we got Mikal Bridges and Tyrese Halliburton coming off the bench.
The thing is, Gator, how many of these players that's playing in this FIBA league is going to actually play for the dream team in the Olympics?
Exactly. Zero.
The dream team? What do you mean the dream team?
I mean, the Olympics. How many of these players is going to be in the Olympics?
FIBA is a bigger thing than the Olympics. What do you mean?
No, it's not. No,
Why
it's not. It's never been.
For
men's basketball, the FIBA roster has always been weaker than the Olympics roster.
Oh no, I'm not talking about. Yeah, but why is that though? Why is there more importance on the Olympics than it should be reversed?
Listen. To be an Olympian says in any sport.
That's
to be
not
an
true.
Olympian,
That's not true. That's not true.
In swimming, swimming is to be an Olympian and
Oh,
like when you talk about Michael Phelps,
Well,
you talk about his gold medals
yeah,
as an
yeah.
Olympic.
No, yeah, but listen.
When you
They
talk
don't
about when you
have an
talk
event
about
they don't have an
when you
event
talk
every
about
4 years for swimming.
when you talk about Simone Biles, you talk about her gold
No,
medals
of
as an
course,
Olympian.
of
You don't.
course,
So
of
I
course.
don't.
That's totally different. That's
I'm
totally
just
different.
saying.
There
But
is
I'm
no
saying,
listen. Wait, let me get my
but
point
listen,
first.
no, basketball rosters operates the same way. So you're saying the point you're about to make against what I said about Michael Phelps and Simone Biles is not true with basketball because the basketball rosters are always better.
No,
They
that's
always
not what I was
build
gonna
their
say.
Olympian.
That's not what I
They
was gonna
always
say.
build their Olympian teams better than they do their FIBA teams. Good.
There are no events for events like gymnastics, swimming. All there is the Olympics. That is your
Oh,
number one
no.
goal.
No, you're wrong. There are national and world tournaments for swimming and for
Yeah,
gymnastics.
but
Simone Biles
the
Simone Biles
biggest
just
tournament is the
won
hey,
her
Olympics.
hey,
Simone Biles just won her
hey,
8th national title, record
hey,
breaking
That's
thing.
that's
So
that's fine.
remember,
That's
there
fine.
are national and
But
world tournaments for
I
gymnastics.
didn't say there wasn't. I didn't say there wasn't. I know there's tournaments outside the Olympics, but the biggest thing is the Olympics for those type of events, for those type of people. Winning a gold medal is above everything. It's
correct.
In
not
every
this.
sport,
No, it's
except for
not.
probably maybe just soccer.
Soccer,
Not. That's not. No.
World,
World
World Cup
Cup
Even
is
in
World Cup.
hockey, like everybody's cool with winning an Olympic gold medal, but the World Championship, the thing that happens once every 4 years, is the ultimate goal. That should be on everybody's mind. They have a world. They don't have that in the Olympic in
what?
like track and field and swimming. They don't have an event like this big event that happens every 4 years. It's literally just the
What?
Olympics.
I'm telling you.
No,
The
listen. I
I'm
agree
saying,
with.
I'm just saying.
I'm
Well,
not saying what you're saying is
I'm saying
wrong.
in more sports, the gold medal is more significant than in sports
And
where the gold medal is not more significant, right?
actually,
So,
the first one.
Yeah, so
like,
I'm asking you, and I'm asking you for an event that happens once every 4 years compared to something that happens every 2 years. Why in basketball is the Olympics more important than the FIBA World Cup?
maybe because my whole premise on being an Olympian, I think is the highest honor you can ever have as an athlete is to be an Olympian. Just that title, to attach yourself with that word to being one of the best athletes the world has to offer. That's what the word. That's what comes with that word Olympian. You know what I mean? Olympian is like a gargantuan kind of title. You know what I mean? And so it's just like.
In the world.
Exactly. And so
Weird. I think it's a
it's
little
just
weird.
like I think it's because it started, like Batman said, with the dream team. And that was the Olympics. And so the emphasis is definitely more on it. First of all, the Olympics, let's understand, is the biggest world sporting event.
Period.
We know that, right? We agree. I mean, it is the biggest.
I would argue World Cup, but
No, I'm saying no. I said world
Well,
sport. I mean, I said no world
everybody
sport. Like I'm talking about where there's. I'm talking about. I'm talking about an atmosphere where there are multiple, where the world come together to compete in multiple different sports and events. The Olympics is by far at the top, where because you have, like, for now you got all of these other world kind of tournaments that goes on, and where all of these different countries are competing. None are like the Olympics, when you get all of the freaking teams of all sports and events all coming to one country to battle it out.
yeah, no,
Olympics,
the Olympics
is
is the
at the
top
top.
of the
But
top
it's just,
notch.
and to start the Olympics basketball team, it started with the Dream Team. That was our first team as an Olympian basketball team of NBA players, because it used to be college players.
right.
Of NBA players, it was the Dream Team. And so that's I think where the emphasis comes from. And to win a gold medal as an Olympian basketball player is has way more value in the sporting world to win a FIBA world title. And if you look at the last FIBA world title team, it was like Kemba Walker. Like, it was bad. It was
It's the only sport. It's out of the
it
three
always
major sports.
it always happens where these rosters are worse off. And so I love what Batman asked: how many of these players are going to make that Olympic team? I mean, none of these. Think about the Olympic
The way you're
teams.
talking about it,
LeBron.
none, I guess.
You got a roster where you had
Elvis.
LeBron,
Durant.
Melo, D Wade, Durant, Kobe. Like I remember that team, the Redeem team. Like they're not gonna make the ultimate roster. Like so I love what he asked. And
I
with
hate
that
that.
being
I hate
said,
that. I do hate that. I'll give my quick opinion. I don't like that because it delegitimizes the importance of the FIBA World Cup. I don't like for an event that happens once every 4 years. It seems like we're really like saying like, who
I think this
cares?
event happens every 2 years.
No, not the
The
FIBA.
Well, I know the Olympics happens once every 4 years. We know
No,
that.
two.
No, Olympics happen once every
Oh, you're
4
talking
years.
about yeah. No,
This
wait.
FIBA happens once every
No,
2 years.
winter, summer. Yeah, I was thinking winter, summer. You're right. The Summer Olympics, which would be the basketball competitions, once every 4 years.
Yeah.
But the Olympics is every 2 years. When it goes back and forth between summer and.
This is
I
basic.
don't know what you're. I mean, I know the swimming Olympics is once every 4 years. The gymnastic Olympics is once every 4. I don't know what Olympics you're talking about. That's once every 2 years.
Winter.
I have no idea.
No, I'm saying they just go back. The Olympics is every 2 years, but
Every 4 years.
it's every 2 years.
4 years.
I don't know what
It's every 2
information
years.
you.
The Winter Olympics. The Winter Olympics would be after summer. It's every 2 years.
Winter Olympics is every 2 years. I do the same.
No. Both events are every 4 years. Yes, you're both right. But I'm saying the Olympics is televised every 2 years because you go 2 years summer, 2 years winter, 2 years summer, 2 years winter, 2 years summer. There's an Olympics every 2 years.
I have no idea what you're talking about. It says Winter Olympic Games happens once every 4 years. I don't know.
No, but what he's trying to say is
they alternate them. They alternate them. So there's an Olympics every 2 years.
And
I see what you're saying.
They alternate, yeah.
So he's saying that every 2 years you'll get to see the Olympics.
So it's every 4. So it's every 4 years.
But they both
because,
yes. 4 years.
Because the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics are never on the same year.
No.
You get what I'm saying? Okay. They're both every 4 though.
Yes.
But there will be an Olympics in 2021, in 2023, in 2025, in 2027.
Yes. Yeah.
Olympics. Now, I want to know if you're right about FIBA. If you're right about the FIBA thing being every 2 years, then you're right. Then this conversation holds no virtue at all.
Yes. Because what this do is to qualify.
No, it is every 4 years. It is every 4 years. I just looked up. 4
years as well.
But it's just weird to me because I think we're delegitimizing the like. You're right. Who cares? Like only the Olympic. But like in other sports, in soccer and in hockey, in the 3 major sports that have an Olympics, because there's no Olympics for football. In hockey and soccer, the Olympics is second to none. They don't even allow NHLers in the Olympics anymore. They don't allow NHL players, hockey players, to play in the Olympics right now. They don't have a deal in place to do that. The Hockey World Cup is way bigger than the Olympics, and the World Cup is the biggest event in sports history, pretty much. Besides, you can argue some of the Olympic events. Like you don't see Argentina even. You don't see Messi sometimes even competing in the Olympics. It's only the World Cup. Like it is a little backwards. It's a little backwards.
But it's I'm saying sports, not teams. I mean sports in general. There are just a couple sports where the Olympics is not as important or it's not more. So it's more sports that are out there way more. It's not even close. Where the Olympics is the cream of the crop.
No, for 90%, you're right. I'm just trying to like the 3 American sports out of the 4 American sports that people watch in America, it would be football, basketball, hockey, soccer. Those would be baseball. But they have a World Baseball Classic that's way bigger than the Olympics every year. They do a World Baseball Classic that's huge. So like it's just a little backwards to me when in the basketball sense.
What do we got?
Okay, so the question is Dak's job safe? I know you'll like to because they just went out and got Trey Lance. Why would Dallas do that? Why? Why would they do that?
Listen, they did that to put a foot in Dak's ass and say, listen, this is the deal. But when Dak still got $60 million coming next year, Dak don't have nothing to worry about. For one, he just
He
got
get
kicked out of
traded.
Huh?
No, they could trade him.
Trade him to who? Dak haven't proven
It
that
could
to nobody.
happen. It could happen.
No team is going to trade for that
No
contract,
contract.
especially when they didn't. Especially when you sign a guy to that much money, they got to be homegrown. Like you got to know everything about that person as to why you would invest that in. A team wouldn't just go out and
Cowboys
make
don't
a
do
deal
that.
like that.
Cowboys don't just pick up make a trade for a outside quarterback that they wouldn't trade.
So let me ask you this: so should Dak be? Is Dak should he be worried? Like say past year 2, like when his contract is up?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
He should definitely worry. And if he don't forget the playoff. He had to at least make the Super Bowl. Lose, he might be able to hang around. He had to at least make the Super Bowl. At least. Super Bowl or bust. Super Bowl or bust.
I don't think it has to be like that. But like, what are you talking about? This year? This year?
No.
Over the next 2 years of his deal.
I think if he makes an NFC Championship game, they'll keep him around because Dallas hasn't been to one in
since Mike Irvin and them guys.
Yeah, so I think that'll be enough to say, wow, okay. I think it's baby steps.
He had to lose
Dallas.
to a big time opponent.
Well, if they make the NFC Championship game, it will be.
One thing that we definitely know, and first, the Cowboys already shown us that Dak should be worried. Why? Tony Romo was hurt, got hurt in the preseason. Dak came in preseason, balling.
I think it's a little different. I think it's a little different because they age.
Let me get you. You can speak on it after I get the point out. Came in the preseason, balling. What happened? Tony Romo was out because that was an injury that was like a 6-week injury. He was out the first like 6 weeks of the season. So when the preseason was up, everybody was like, man, it's just a preseason. Dak, he looked great, but it was just a preseason. It was just a preseason. What did Dak do? Go 6-0. And then what happened?
Tony Romo came.
Tony Romo, come in the office, Tony.
You're my boy and everything, but
we're gonna stick with Dak on this, and you're back up, and yeah. So let's not act like a similar scenario can't happen, where Trey Lance is homegrown under Mike McCarthy, or under if he gets his job taken away from him, under whatever. Like if he goes through gets to a point where he becomes the player that his draft capital says he is.
What are you, number 3?
If Dak misses any time and this kid comes out and it is clear that Dallas is better with him, don't for a second think that Dallas will not move on from Dak Prescott.
No.
Let's not act like this is not a situation where it's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, one of the greats, where if their backup played very well, they'll leave him in. They're like, nah, we're still going with Tom. Like, this is Dak Prescott that we're talking about at the end of the day. Dak I love him. He's a great quarterback. We love him as a person. He is a great quarterback, but he's not one of those kind of greats where if the guy behind him absolutely crushes it, where his job is not at jeopardy. His job is
at tone yet, though. So that's why
the question though is, King, is realistically is you're talking a perfect world, like Trey Lance comes in to say Trey Lance going to come in and go crazy, like blow people away.
That would well, if he doesn't do if he don't do anything, then of course Dak shouldn't be worried. So
even if Trey Lance, let's say Trey Lance is he's playing well and they're winning football games, but nothing like mind blowing. Like he's nothing like. Do you think they still move on? Like that's more realistic. Let's say Dak goes down, but they got a good football team. Dallas got a good football team. It's kind of like when Brock Purdy stepped in for Jimmy Garoppolo. The Niners have a really good football team. They wanted to win 7 in a row. So like let's say Trey Lance comes in, plays okay.
And you see what happened. Is Brock Purdy the
You're
starter in
right.
San
No,
Francisco right
no,
now? Yes or no?
Yeah, but
Oh,
wait,
okay.
wait. Is Dak Prescott a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo? It's a different.
How they
It's a little
I
different.
don't know.
Ooh,
Whoa.
okay. That's a different conversation then. I
What did
think he
Jimmy
is.
G do?
I think he
What did he
is.
do? Don't
No, I'm
say,
saying
what did he do?
he's saying that he think Dak is better than Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't know if Dak is necessarily better than Jimmy because Jimmy, I know Jimmy got a better win percentage than Dak in their careers. I know Jimmy's been to a Super Bowl. He's
He
been
lost.
to the NFC title game twice, if I'm not mistaken, twice or three times. How many times has it been? 49er fan has it been twice? Twice. He's been to the NFC title
If
game
you
twice.
count this year, 3 times, but he wasn't a
He was
quarterback.
the backup, so he didn't. He wasn't there, or he was hurt. He got hurt, right? But he was going to be the starter if he didn't get hurt. For the rest of that,
He was not the starter. Trey Lance started the season as a starter.
no,
Brock Purdy. If you want to get technical, Brock Purdy took over a backup's role. So it's not the same. It's not the same as
Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance got hurt first game of the season. Jimmy Garoppolo
second game.
First. It was against the Bears, game number 1. It was the first game of the season.
You really gonna challenge me on this? It was against the Seahawks. It was the second game. No, it was
game
not.
That Trey Lance got hurt was against the Bears, and you're supposed to be a 49ers fan.
I will put my house on it. I'll put my house on it.
Get something actually tangible.
$100.
Bet.
Oh
yeah,
no!
Have
King.
fun. Have fun watching that. That was not a good bet, King. It was literally a designed run play for Trey Lance that he got hurt on against Seattle.
It was against the Bears. Pull it up.
I'll pull it up.
Pull it up. Pull it up. That's for 100 too. And I want my bread. I remember that game.
Oh,
because
boy.
I think I want to say I had
You're wrong, but it's fine.
I am wrong. Let me see. Check it.
No, I know. You look it up. I know. So you can look it up and be disappointed. You could look it up and be disappointed. I know. How would I had drafted Trey Lance in fantasy as well.
Oh, it was against the Bears that he underperformed.
Correct.
And okay. You're absolutely right.
But that's besides the point. But what I'm saying,
Jimmy came in after, when he got hurt and was playing like Jimmy G always plays.
No, they were playing bad. The Niners were playing bad. They started 3-4. Brock Purdy came and turned it around.
Well.
Realistically, Jimmy was not. There wasn't much that Brock Purdy had to do to look good in that situation. To be better than Dak, Trey's gonna have to do a lot. A lot more than what Brock Purdy did on San Francisco.
That's my point.
That's why it's a little different.
Trey Lance is gonna have to look special in a sense. But
so back to my main question.
If he looks a little bit better than Dak, if he looks 1 inch better than Dak, they'll move on from Dak. This is what you're missing.
That's a lot, though.
You think
he
has to be astronomical? He don't have to be astronomically better than Dak. He could just be better than Dak. Better than Dak.
But what's better than Dak? What's better than Dak to you?
We'll see.
What's better? Where do you have Dak on your quarterback rankings? Where do you have Dak on your quarterback? Is he in the top 10?
Middle of the pack. He's average. He's middle of the pack. I mean, he's middle of the pack.
You don't think he's 10th, 9th?
What? But there are not a lot of really good quarterbacks in the NFL. So wherever that threshold of really good quarterbacks in the NFL stops, put Dak Prescott right after that name.
I think his job is completely safe. I think it's completely safe. I think it's completely safe. 2 reasons. The Tony Romo situation is a little different. Tony Romo was older, so it's a lot easier to move on from an older quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys just came off 2 12-season wins. 2 12-season wins, a game off the NFC Championship game both times. I cannot move on from that. I I
Okay.
I'm
You can't
sorry.
move.
I'm sorry that they had to go against my Niners, who are just fucking dominant. Like they're just dominant. They had to lose to them twice. You know they might they just gotta avoid our Niners. They can make it. They gotta avoid the Niners. Get the 1 or the 2 seed, so they don't have to worry about us.
Move
Yeah,
on
they
to
stop.
the next
Yeah,
topic, man. Move on to you're talking about the next topic right there. Go ahead, Batman. Say what you was gonna say.
real quick, 49ers got to worry about the Kansas City, though. So you
No,
can
we
say
don't.
about
We don't have to worry about them to the
let's
Super
move
Bowl.
on.
We don't have to worry about them to the Super Bowl. It's fine. Um, will the Cowboys represent the NFL in Vegas? No, they will not. But I'll let you go. I'll lead since I was
Will
already
they?
talking
Will
about
the
it.
Cowboys represent the NFL in Las
NFC.
Vegas?
Sorry, NFC.
Well, excuse me.
Okay.
Will the Cowboys represent the NFC in Las Vegas Super Bowl 58? Will they
No.
represent
I'll,
will
I,
they represent the NFC?
no.
Let's look. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of an NFC team. Gator's a fan of an NFC team. Batman's a fan of an NFC team. So let's put bias aside. Let's put our analytical hat on right now.
By the side, a lot of people said professional sportscaster has said do not sleep on the Dallas Cowboys.
We say this every year.
No, 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 no,
We
no,
say
no,
this shit
no,
every
no,
year.
no, 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 no. I'm not talking about not dollar fans. Of course, they're gonna say that every year. These are people. Stephen A. Smith can't stand the
Can't stand the
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Everybody knows Stephen A. Smith. He said, but this year, I would not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl. He said, I said it, y'all brung it out of me. This year.
Wow.
I want to say last
He
week.
did have them at number 3 on his NFC
I know
rankings.
you heard it. I know you heard me say that, Gator. Stephen A. Smith. And everybody, he said it on national TV,
No,
other
he
than
did.
Joe.
He did.
He said,
I saw the clip. He had them at 3 behind the Eagles and the Niners, but he said, like he.
don't be surprised
Yeah.
that the Super Bowl. Now, that means Stephen A. seen something of the Cowboy. I haven't. I'm not a Cowboy fan. I'm a Giant fan. We beat them like we beat San Francisco in the playoffs, like we beat Green Bay in the playoffs. But, and I watched, they was naming the plays that Dallas had, running back, defense, this and that. I was like, hold up.
No, they're definitely better than they were last year, for sure.
And
Especially the
Dak,
defense, which is scary.
Dak has something to prove. The best thing they did with Dak, they didn't play him in the preseason. Same thing where they didn't like my Giant quarterback. They played a one series, he scored a touchdown, and then he was done for the rest of the preseason. Dak Prescott did not play the preseason at all. Period. He's ready to come in. I believe that Dak Prescott gonna have a way better season than people think. That Lance guy, come on, man. Like really? King, really? Dallas does have a chance to represent the NFC. And I'm saying that against my Giants. They do have a chance to go to the NFC in Las Vegas, represent. I believe so. And
Wow.
I believe so.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. And I'm not saying anything about no Trey Lance this season. I'm just saying let's see if he can improve and let's see what happens. But I just feel like I agree with you. Who was I watching? I want to say I was watching Keyshawn Johnson today make
Undisputed.
make a beautiful point about why Dak's touchdown interception ratio looked as bad as it did last year. As far as when you talk about the offensive coordinator that they had, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. Somebody give me his name.
I don't even know.
Oh my gosh. Kellen Moore. I got it.
Um,
Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, who, like Keyshawn Johnson was saying, he wasn't having the numbers were cute as far as the yardage thrown, all of these always finishing at the top of the league, and all of these offense stats, but it wasn't the best way to run that offense according to the type of defense that they had. You were making too many high-end plays, not managing clock,
Right.
not managing time of possession, not managing
Oh yeah.
not playing situational football. You were just being the Kellen Moore that you know how to be, which was dynamic. Throw it down. New NFL 2023 NFL is passing down the field. So that was his approach to like that is how he had Dak out there playing on the consistent basis versus like when you got like a Justin Herbert who he has now in Los Angeles, fine. You can do that with a Justin Herbert and possibly have great success. No disrespect to Dak, but not with no Dak Prescott. You can't open up the field for Dak the same way you can open up the field for a Justin Herbert. Like you just cannot do that, especially when when the only weapon he has was CeeDee Lamb out there as far as pass catching receivers, and you're still playing this hybrid offensive attack style of play. With Justin Herbert in Los Angeles, he has Keenan Allen, he has Mike Williams, he has Quentin Johnston, who they just drafted. He got players over there, Gerald Everett, Josh Palmer. He got receivers over there who are down the field threats and receivers. But when you're talking about what's over here in Dallas, you don't have those kind of receivers or quarterback to play that kind of style. And now when you got Mike McCarthy, who's going to play according to the defense that he has. He's not going to sit here. He's going to make sure his defense gets rest possession by possession. All right, we're going to play we're going to take 6 minutes off this clock this possession so that our defense can come back in that next series and make things happen and stop the team. Lean on your defense, as we know, and it's still true today. Defense is a pivotal part in winning championships. It just is. And so Dak is no scrub. I know that for a fact. I'm not delusional. However, he has to be where he's not doing too much neither though. He's not one of those guys that can do too much too. Like, so if you make him play a methodical game, he can execute that like nobody else in the NFL. Like he can execute that just as good as anybody in the NFL if he plays a methodical style game, if he plays a game that's built on time of possession. If you remember the teams when Zeke was in his prime, and they led the league in time of possession with that team, handing the ball off to Zeke 20 times a game and him making, great methodical throw after great methodical throw. It was a beautiful thing. And their defense was nowhere near what it is right now. And they were still winning 12, 13 games, finishing number 1 overall seed in the NFC in that time. So you get back to that offense of style play with Mike McCarthy now calling the plays, and you got everybody's trying to make this defense one of the most best historical defenses ever freaking assembled. I don't know why there's emphasis on the fact that this team
it looks good. It looks
okay.
good.
It could be. It could be one of
get to the quarterback.
They're saying it's one of the best defenses. That's what the analysts are saying. The professionals are saying. The guys who played the game are saying one of the best defenses they ever seen. Cool. So let's understand that's their bread and butter, and Dak let him play a methodical game, and not no more airing it out. It's just straight. All right, how can we win this ball game today? And yeah, with that said, they got a chance for sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna disagree with you both.
Okay.
I have Dallas to win, and this is no disrespect to Dallas. I got Dallas winning the NFC East. Like I got them beating the Eagles in the NFC East, the defending NFC champions. But we're talking about that would be a huge leap for them. I see NFC championship game potential, but that's as far as it goes. I don't think they could win the NFC championship game.
When it's just one game away at that point, anything can happen. It's not
anything could happen, but you're asking me
when you get to that game, it's not a series. It's one game. You
You're
got to remember.
You're asking me if I think they're gonna win that game. I'm saying no.
I'm talking about the point that you made. Look at the hat that Batman has on. That's one of 2 titles that the Giants won where nobody Not one person besides maybe a Giant fan, and not even
It's a
Giant
culture, man. A
had
Giant
them listening.
culture.
Had not okay, cool, whatever you want to say. Not
Wild card.
one person, football watcher, had the Giants getting to the Super Bowl in either season. So to make it seem like if they get to an NFC title game, it's like it will be like just this. Oh my gosh, they won the
To
NFC
win the
title game.
Super Bowl.
It would be
To
like
win
that,
the Super Bowl.
like that point is so like
For a
insufficient
team,
according
for a team,
according to NFL history. That point you just made is insufficient. It's so many examples where it's happened.
I mean, it is NFL history. I'm gonna go back to the Dallas Cowboys have not been to a Super Bowl in 27 years. They haven't been to an NFC title game in 27 years.
They wasn't good enough.
I'm not betting against history. 1996.
I know Batman knows this. Correct me if I'm wrong. When was the last time the Giants won before they beat the Patriots when the Patriots was that undefeated team? The first Giants Super Bowl under Tomlin, right? Tom Coughlin. When was the last time before that was Pearl, right? Was not Pearl. What's his name? Who was the head coach of the Giants back then? Bill Parcells. The last time they won was Bill Parcells. What was that gap? Between Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin Super Bowl.
91 to 91. They won that game. They won a game against Buffalo. That was 90-91
17 years. 17 years.
So, all right then. So, like, what do we?
27's a lot more, but okay.
Yeah, 17 years old. All the time that I had to cry.
1996 is the last time the Cowboys were in an NFC title game. They won the Super Bowl that year. They won the Super Bowl that year, though.
When the last time the 49ers? How long ago the 49ers won their Super Bowl?
Won a Super Bowl? It's a long time.
Exactly. So you're not betting against history with them.
No, they've been to it. We're not talking about winning it. We're talking about getting to it. The Niners have been to 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime. The Ravens, they lost to the Ravens, and then they lost to. And then if you want to talk NFC title games, they've been to a fuck ton. They've been to 5 or 6 in my lifetime.
But I'm going according to you, though. You say they can win the NFC East and stuff like that, but then the other teams are going to eventually beat them. And that's what happened to the 49ers.
I'm just thinking that NFC title game, I don't like the Cowboys' chances against any of the teams that I think are going to get there. That's all.
David, I'm going to quickly say this. If they win the NFC, Joey, that means they get home court advantage and a bye.
No.
Now, huh?
No, just they have to play week 1.
Then
if they win the East or the whole NFC.
When other teams are playing during the bye, how about a Philly get knocked off? Anything can happen. How about what other team that's in there that
49ers.
The 49ers get knocked off? Then guess what? That bye is very important for Dallas too. Things can happen.
Well, in order for Dallas
they're not getting the bye.
They will have to they will have to have the best record in the NFC.
They're not going to get a bye.
And it's possible. We know that the Eagles. The Eagles' schedule is a lot harder this year. Yes. We know.
No. I definitely got Dallas winning the division, King. But
I'm saying. So that's one team that you're probably concerned about as far as having a better record than Dallas. And the only other team that you're concerned that have a better record than Dallas in the NFC is the 49ers.
You're gonna love my playoff predictions then, because I got some team at the 2 seed that's gonna surprise a lot of people.
At 2 seed of what, the NFC?
Yeah.
But I'm saying
there's one NFC team I'm very high on. Very high on.
Who?
I don't want to talk about this. That's next week. That's next week, man. Our playoff predictions.
You can just say who the team is, because I want to know.
Because you know what, I'm gonna put mine together and see if it matches up with yours, Gator. So we wait till next week.
Yeah, we'll wait. The next week on Monday is gonna be a big show. It's gonna be a very fun show I got planned. That's gonna be our predictions. Who you got winning every division. This is your last chance to make any changes to your predictions. NFC winners, AFC winners, Super Bowl winners, all Monday, and then our preview of our first game, Chiefs versus Detroit. So next week's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna hold off on that. But I just don't. Last thing before we switch topics, I just don't think. I think Dallas has the potential. They have enough to get to an NFC title game, which is something they haven't done in 25 years. But I like whoever they're playing against in that NFC title game. I like everybody from the NFC. Whoever gets to that point, I just don't think they get over the hump. I think it's a road game for them. I don't think they're getting home field advantage. I think it's going to be a road game for them. It's going to be too much. That's just my honest opinion. Okay. I think they can win a divisional game at home. I think they can win a divisional game at home this year.
But
I didn't think so in the past. I think so. They think they can this year.
Bad. I go with that. But it's that but, and that's what I'm scared of.
No, you're right. It's one game, but I'm still have my pick. My take on that.
It's a real deal. We got to see Purdy's a real deal. Now, guess what though, Gator? Everybody know Purdy could ball now. What he proved it. Yeah, didn't he get hurt or something like that? Didn't he get hurt?
He's looked so good in the preseason. No, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
Record last year, so you know what that means.
He's been slinging it in the preseason.
A real good football team.
His shoulder's fine. His elbow's fine. He's played in the preseason. He's played in the preseason. Looked really good. He's good.
Is Purdy all right?
Next topic. The Ravens are featuring a team with the first all-black quarterback room in NFL history. First, second, and third string all-black quarterbacks. King, you want to elaborate on that? I don't know where you're going with that.
Batman, and you could talk about it, Christian.
No, I'm going to, but I want you to give them. I want you to give the people. I don't really know where you're going with it, so I want to.
If I'm being, I'm gonna go the classic who route, like just understanding. But honestly, before I really want, somebody. We have a vet in here, a veteran, both in the field of sports and literally a veteran, a former Marine. But we have a vet in here who saw when the prejudice was at its height of quarterbacks, being black in the NFL, where they felt like they just
too dumb,
straight up, was just too stupid to play it. And now to be in a point, and that's why I love, I really do like the Ravens organization. Just start there. I just like what they're about in a lot of ways. But the first roster, 53-man roster that was turned in NFL history, where the only quarterbacks on the team were all black. I want to know, give us some contextual insight on that.
For years that I watched. And when Doug Williams, I could tell you this, when Doug Williams won the Super Bowl for the Washington Redskins.
Who's that? Be specific.
Doug Williams. Doug Williams, the quarterback coming out of Grambling Tigers.
Wow.
Came in.
And that's an HBCU. Yeah.
Definitely is. Came in, floated around the league, but he was good. He was, he was athletic. He was that running guy, strong arm, everything. So the NFL grabbed him, not too big. And he went to Washington because the Washington quarterback went down. He got the start. And he just kept on winning and winning and winning. That he actually broke records at that time in the Super Bowl. Y'all look it up. I actually 10. When he actually won, I was so happy. Because I said, this is going to be the beginning of something bigger. Which it turned out, no, it wasn't. And then the league, he left, and then the league still had, sitting on the sideline when they only could carry two white quarterbacks. Then they had throw a black quarterback out there not starting right away. But then it built up. And it took time, and it just took courage. And the great day to speak on this, because it's Martin Luther King Day, he marched in Washington today, the day. And we mentioned this because we should overcome. And it happened with the Baltimore Ravens. And thank God, because now it's going to open up eyes. Dallas got to start a quarterback. Kansas got to start a quarterback. Seattle got to start. It just built it. I think I made a joke last week, which I honestly wasn't joking. When I said, and get a laugh, I said, soon it's going to be all starting black quarterbacks in the league. Remember that again? I mentioned that. You said, ha, ha, ha. I said, now, are you ha ha now? Or you like this? Oh. Because Lance would have been another starter, and I could have said San Francisco. And it's happening because the speed of the game. That's why everybody in Buffalo loved their quarterback because he changed his game around. He changed the game. He said, man, I got to run. Danny Dimes for the Giants. He said, you got to run because you have no other choice. You got all these athletic defensive players coming at you. That drop back is not going to be obsolete because that's just what's good. That's what's up. But I tell you, if they don't protect Aaron Rodgers in the Jets, he's going to be like this. I quit. Not in reality, but in the game situation. He's going to be like, I'm a drop back quarterback, man. I'm not running around at 37 years old.
Yeah,
and then it's just he used to be. At that age, I'm talking about. At his age. At his age. So I clap on it. And it's a great thing. Because it's not because the quarterbacks that's coming into the league are scrubs. They are really good players. They multi-talented. Now you can say a white quarterback is more a drop back and accurate or whatever. I beg to differ. But because they expect black quarterbacks just to run around and just make a play. And they don't they honestly really don't bring in somebody to say, look, if you can get this game part of your game, that drop back, count the speed of defense, put a clock ahead, and this is
and it's happening now more than ever. It's happening now more than ever.
It is
because
happening.
before, like you said, before it was a lot of like when you had a black quarterback, especially in college football and in NFL, the stigma like that was attached to you off rip to just be, a one, like just hey, use your legs, use your feet, run. And when you look at a lot of the black quarterbacks of the past, they all, were the offense was designed for them to run in a lot of situations in majority of the time. And then they end up being really nothing in the NFL because you actually do have to read the field down the field. But now more than ever are, offensive coordinators and great offensive minds taking the time, with, every quarterback, no matter what race you are, to be like, all right, let's hone your skills. And it's happening from an early age now.
Can I ask
It's
you a
happening
question
because
about that too, King?
that's where it has to start at an early age. I'm sorry, finish your point, Batman. I'm sorry.
No. Wait, can I ask
Your
King?
closing point, Batman. Your closing point.
My point is this is great for football. It's great for football. Other than because I don't want black people to think they only gonna be running backs, defensive backs, wide receivers, did and stepped in a quarterback role and actually play quarterback other than running. Period. But you notice a lot of good white quarterbacks are starting to run. They are starting to run. The good ones. Johnson Buffalo. And he got one of the strongest arms in the NFL. My man, Diamond D for the Giants. He's running. Well, and it's a few more. There's a few more. I can't remember the other teams, but they are starting to be
like guys like Justin Herbert. He be using his legs. Joe Burrow. He be using his legs. They don't just be. They mobile. Those dudes is mobile now. Yeah, they trying to get active with the feet too.
So that's it. Okay,
one thing that I noticed about how football is played in the past versus how it's played today, and that's where you really struck my attention, Batman, is when you said the speed of the game today. Back then, it was a 10 times more physical league, obviously 10 times more, but the training regimens today, the sports medicine today, it got these players playing. Imagine the league the rules were the same as it was back then with the physical gifts that these players have today. We went it would be too cringe to watch the game. I wouldn't watch football if the guys were able to do in the past what they were able to do in the past if they were able to do it today, because the speed of these athletes have become so much more faster. Like, it's so much more faster. And like you said, they're getting to the quarterback today in this game like this, man. They're getting there quick, man. And so now more than ever, they're like, all right, if we want to be successful, if we want to be a successful football team, we got to start looking at these mobile quarterbacks and start to hone their mental. We have because we need a mobile guy, and if we got a mobile guy, we might as well we might as well help him develop in the mental. So it's kind of like they got they're like they're in a bind because they want to just be honest. Like the nature of the NFL, there are a lot of people who share the same mentality as far as it has its racial issues, and in a lot of ways they wanted to kind of still be the way it was in the past, where it was predominantly white quarterbacks in these quarterback rooms, but now you're battling with wanting that while still wanting to win football games. And so now you're in a situation where, all right, we need mobile guys out there. And I think, now they're forced to, these offensive coordinators. And now we're in different times, of course, where you got offensive coordinators and coaches are not racist, and they are like, hey, let's go. Like, it's me and you, Lamar, it's me and you, Russell Wilson, it's me and you, let's get better. And so, but no, go ahead, Gator.
It also maybe too different owners now. The ages of the owners are changing.
Very important point.
The owners back then, there's some around, like Jerry Jones is really old. Like, there's a lot of old owners, but
they're still left. Yeah.
Over the time, there's a bunch. Over the as new owners are purchasing these teams, newer, younger, or people updated with the times. We might start seeing a shift. I don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime, but there's going to be a shift. But I was going to ask you a question earlier. I just wanted to know, do you think, because of that stigma that you were talking about, that stigma that you said with black quarterbacks, do you think that could be playing a part as to why there weren't a lot of successful black quarterbacks? And what I mean by that is, do you think that black football players stayed away from that position because of the stigma?
I don't know what you're asking.
Like, maybe do you think because the reason why there's not as many successful black quarterbacks in the NFL is because black players went a different direction,
playing different positions
because of the stigma?
Because
we got to remember, we got to remember that there are a lot of examples, and one person comes to my mind. I know Batman knows his name, and it's funny, I think he just passed away. He was the first guy to, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the name
Gilliam for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It might be the name that you mentioned, but it was a black quarterback who won a Super Bowl, the starting quarterback got hurt. He came in, won a Super Bowl, and even still, he didn't get moving forward. They still
exactly. That's, I'm gonna use that. That's a good example, actually. That's a good. So what I'm saying is that's a perfect. What?
No, go ahead.
What I'm saying, that exactly. So that type of attitude towards black quarterbacks, that stigma, that's part of the stigma that you're talking about, that they don't get the respect because of the stigma towards black quarterbacks. We're black athletes, we're black football players saying, I'm not going to get a chance as a quarterback in the NFL. I'm not going to get a chance. Let me play a different position. Let me be a wide receiver. Let me be a running back. So do you think that played a part in why there's not a lot of black quarterbacks today?
Well,
real quick, King, that yes, it plays a part.
Yeah.
But in college, especially in my time growing up, these Oklahomas and Alabamas wasn't recruiting black quarterbacks. It starts in college. And it goes into the NFL. There was a lot of prejudice
Yeah.
as football teams. that was high ranking.
That's what I'm saying. But there were a lot of black football players, correct?
Yeah, playing different positions. But you know how many
Exact.
black
That's what I'm saying.
if you can do the research, you know how many black quarterbacks that was in high school that were stars, but then when they said you play on my team, you fast enough to play wide receiver, you fast enough to play defensive back. If you do the research, and how many times you heard that when they do an option to one of their players and he throws it, and then they'll say, "Wow, why they made this guy be the guy to throw that football?" They say, "Well, back in high school,
That kind of like adds to my point. What I'm saying, even in the college, that kind of so these black players were not given a chance at the quarterback position. So all this special talent that could have been they took it somewhere else. They were smart enough and like, hey, I'm good enough to play this position, but I'm not gonna.
But that's not the conversation that we're having, right? The conversation
that's why I tried to chime in when you were talking about that. That's why I tried to cut you off earlier and ask the question. Then I was just curious about your take on that. Do you think because of that stigma, it kind of led up to where we are today with the black quarterback, and that stigma is kind of going away now? Because black quarterbacks are getting are getting more opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think, to me, I don't think the two correlate. As I just think that shift just happened because now we're in better. I'll say that we're in different times, and so now, because what it didn't stop. Like black quarterbacks didn't stop. Black quarterbacks didn't stop playing quarterback. Like it was a lot of high schools out there in inner cities, even in that time, who had black quarterbacks.
So you don't think that's
running their high school programs, and it wasn't until those elite, quarterbacks got to college, got their college scholarships to where their position was eventually changed. So I don't want to just go ahead and say, it started from age 8 where their dad was like, "Hey, son, you can't play quarterback. You might as well choose another position."
You don't think that those conversations happened?
I mean, it had to have happened. However, I don't want to say that
they're happening less now. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying back then,
those conversations are definitely happening less now. But I don't think those conversations influence change and change it. Well, I think it was enforced eventually, is what I'm basically saying. Like it was just always a situation where if there was a black quarterback, that black quarterback eventually was just forced to change position versus him making a past tense decision like, yo, I'm gonna change my position now. Like I think
the stigma did play a part of it a little bit, but like I'm just so over this because like it's just stupid. It's it's like saying if there was black hockey players, they would be asked just because they're black. Like it's just not common sense. That's not the way it is. Anybody can play the quarterback position. I hope there's a time. I just hope there's a time where this topic doesn't even have to be talked about, and it's just normalized. Like there's good black quarterbacks out there. We just gotta find them. Like it's not a thing. This isn't a thing. It's not a thing that only white people can play the quarterback position. And if you think that way, if you're an owner that thinks that way, you're gonna lose a lot of football games because you're passing up on a lot of talent. And I think the same way goes in other sports. I would love to see some black hockey players. It would make the sport a lot more funner. There are some black hocky players, but just because they're black doesn't mean they can't play the sport. It's a similar type of thing.
Well, the only the distinct difference though would be in, look, I don't mean to like, if I was white, I would say what I'm about to say. Black people, the majority of black people are, and it's evident and it's prevalent out there. You could see it with your own two eyes. This is not a racial comment. This is almost like a factual comment. Are more seemingly to the eye athletically gifted. Just more athletically gifted physically. Like if I was white, I would say that out my mouth. Look, Larry Bird, who we're going to talk about later, he said out his mouth and on the basketball court, one of the biggest and best trash talkers there ever was on the basketball court. It was a playoff series. They put a white defender on him, and he went to that bench. He was like, "Why in the hell would you put a white person to guard me? Like, are you stupid? Like, what is wrong with you?" Like,
No, and that's probably why.
this is Larry Bird. So
That's
let's
probably why.
understand. I'm not bringing race into this. I'm just talking about a genetic.
No, that makes sense for the
factual
conversation.
statement. So
No.
it's just it's just the distinct difference between the
that's
hockey.
true in the NFL.
The distinct difference between your hockey take and this quarterback take is the fact that hockey is primarily a physically tolling sport, which I think if blacks decided to play it, will be able to handle. But it's with this quarterback
cultural
position
thing.
they were calling us. Yeah, exactly. With
cultural
exactly.
thing
It's
and with
the cultural
hockey,
thing where race still exists because of other like.
No. What I'm saying
like,
is, what I'm saying is,
what I'm saying is, in football, owners and coaches were able to hide behind their race by calling black players dumb. Like, oh, they can't play it because they're dumb. In hockey, it's just
I just said that. I said that's
in
a
hockey,
joke.
there's no hiding behind their race. It's just straight like you got those fans just straight just dogging black players every time they're on ice. Like that's just ridiculous. But it's just like that's where I say the distinct difference is with like to sit there and call for now. The NFL's been going over 70 years to have that stigma of black quarterbacks are dumb. That was insane that lasted that long. And so just to have your first, quarterback room all black, that's a feat, man. And knowing Harbaugh and the God-fearing man that he is, knowing him, and like Batman said, this was on this day, Martin Luther King did what?
He marched in Washington D.C. for rights of jobs and stuff like that. It was one of the biggest marches ever.
On the same day that you got to turn your roster in, matching the same day where Dr. King did that, John Harbaugh is one of those kind of dudes who would do it on the same day on purpose, to continue that notion forward of, we're moving forward as a country, in terms of race. And so I'm definitely proud of Ravens organization for making that happen, because they probably could have had another like a white quarterback instead of that third string black quarterback.
It's being a lot more normalized now. Even the Cowboys room got 2 black quarterbacks. So I mean, now. So I mean, the Niners did at one point with Josh Johnson and Trey Lance. The start, I think we're it's more the starters that were like really noticing a big difference on it now. But the like I said, I just hope there's one day where this doesn't even have to be a conversation. Like just
me too.
Just a three quarterback or whatever it is. It's just normalized, and it's just not even a conversation. As part of the reason why I think, like I would love to see some black players in hockey too. I think across all sports, and I know that's a cultural thing. It's not part of black culture at all, that sport. So I understand it's very expensive to play hockey. There's no way I could have afforded it when I was younger. So I get it. That's a different conversation. It's a cultural thing when it comes to stuff like that. But sports is amazing. Let's get some. We need soccer. We need some American soccer players as well, man. Like, come on.
Thank you, Batman, for your contextual insight. Seriously, thank you. But let's make sure we get a clip of something he said in there that was significant and get that posted. What topic do we have next?
Year 21 LeBron. What do we expect?
Year 21.
I'm sick of talking about LeBron, but yeah, you guys.
LeBron is always a hot topic.
I understand.
For obvious reasons. And it's very freaking fun to discuss somebody who, we like when he retires, you got to think he is of that Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James like category. So we're not going to see another one for another like 10, 15, like where a guy, well, maybe this Victor Wembanyama guy, but we gotta wait for him to take off before we could even
Because
consider even putting him in that space when LeBron. So
Now,
it's
I
just
understand what you're saying. It's like when
it's
we
just
lost
it's just
Tom Brady, but we got Patrick Mahomes. When we
right.
lose LeBron, what's next? There's
yeah,
there's nobody like that in the NBA right now.
So I don't
I get
know.
what you're
Year
saying about
20,
that.
go ahead.
But
Go ahead. Always guess first. And at this point, I mean, Batman is no guess. He is like affiliate
no,
100%.
he's
Thank you,
definitely a
Batman.
regular. He's definitely a
But
regular.
no, for let's go year 21. What do you expect year 21
I
in games?
expect him to go try to win an NBA championship.
Of course.
I expect, but no, honestly, like he tried to do last season in the playoff, play the whole game and stuff like that. I don't expect that for him to do that again. I thought that was not smart on the coach's part, not smart on the player's part, and not smart as a playing in the series like that. He should have got rest, and that's why I said they need a third man. Now you want to say this Austin Reeves guy, he can be that, but yes, if they allow him the freedom he's doing, like he got in FIBA, he had the freedom just to play ball. With LeBron and AD, you're not too much gonna have that freedom. But if he get a third guy, per se, like like his man that he played with Miami, just retired. God, it doesn't make no sense. With the big three, number three for Miami, just retired, going to the Hall of Fame, Dwayne Wade. If they get a player like a Dwayne Wade, they get a player like the guy that just played with Miami, that took Miami to the championship. Somebody like that could straight up when AD and LeBron is not having good games, that oh man, we got this guy. And he becomes that hero. Like when Dwayne Wade won his first championship, nobody really knew. They seen he had a great season. He literally took over that championship, and he had Shaq. Then he had Shaq and won the MVP over Shaq. When Shaq was in LA, he had Kobe, and Shaq won all three MVPs of the championship. Kobe didn't win none. When he goes to Miami, and Dwayne Wade's on the team, and Shaq had a hell of a season that year. That's one of the reasons why they won. And one of the reasons why they won. But Dwayne Wade played hard with Shaq is not down or any of his sidekick players on Miami. That's what the Lakers need. And LeBron respects Austin Reeves. He respects him. He's a basketball player. We see he can play. Not good enough. Not good. But not good. King disagree. I can see his expression. Not good. Not good. Because what they're gonna still treat him the same, but pray for him to be that better player. But they still missing something. A tough defensive player, a dominant rebounder, the tangible type things, and play team basketball, not LeBron James basketball. I think this year, because he's older, that he's going to be more team oriented, so they can mesh, just like Denver did. Denver was the team. There was one sound, one beat. They got to take a page out of Denver. Every team should. Phoenix, all Golden State, but Golden State plays team basketball. They do. I just think that they just think they could beat anybody, and then forget that other teams could play ball too. But I think this year he's not going to have a dominant year, like he is the star of the NBA. But I think because he's going to take back of that stardom, he's way above that, past that, I believe. And if he do that, he's going to go to try to win a championship. He's going to try to knock off Denver or Phoenix or any one of them. Those things. That's the thing. That's what I think. He's going to take that of his stardom and be now the smartest man on the court, but play team basketball. That's what I think he's going to be in year 20.
Okay. And I think like with that Austin Reeves point, I just feel like this year they're going to rely on him as opposed to last year. They're going to allow him to be like, yo, Yo, LeBron is going to tell him, yo, there's no such thing as you shooting too much. Like you finally you got it. Like we need another guy. So we're going to treat you and try to make you be that next guy. Take that next leap that we believe you can take. They just signed him to a big deal. Cool, let's do it. Like, bruh, LeBron is gonna be like regardless. Kyrie Irving was shooting 30 shots a game. LeBron still was averaging 28, 8, and 8. Like LeBron is gonna be LeBron, regardless of whatever the sidekicks are doing. So if you got a perimeter scorer, like LeBron is as great as it's funny, as great as a scorer he is, he's not I wouldn't classify him as a great perimeter scorer. But he is though, but it's just done a different way. LeBron can just score in any kind of way, whether it's in the post or whether it's a catch and shoot or whether it's driving off the dribble. But Austin Reeves type is a guy who's lethal from the mid-range jump shot area, who can play right, who plays like not is like a Kyrie Irving. He plays has the similar game style, scoring wise, as a Chris Middleton, as a Kyrie, like just those kind of types. Who can put the ball on the floor and pull up on a drop of a dime and cash it in. You know what I mean? Devin Booker plays like that. So you need that guy that you need that. And what's the other dude named Byron Scott? You need that guy that could just straight just be like that could just score in that way, you know. And they had that, and they're going to allow him to be that. And I think, that dynamic guy, you know what I'm saying, in the scoring department, and that's going to take a lot of scoring pressure off LeBron and AD. And it's the question, and I know for a fact he's going to be able to do it in the regular season. I know that for a fact. It's just a matter of when the playoffs get here and that defense get revved up. Will he be able to now do what he was doing in the regular season, do it in the playoffs? But year 20, to answer the question, year 21 LeBron, I think, is going to be the same player we've been seeing, right? The big number, the big numbers. Dare I say, now though, that this roster has had a time to go through the fire that they went through. They went through that fire together. That's real fire that roster went through. They just got that roster, if we remember, at the trade deadline with only like 23 games left in the regular season. They went through that fire together, and now they got a full season, a full off season, a training camp, and then they added another championship caliber piece, role player, in the guard that came over from Miami. I forget his name.
Vincent. Vincent.
Gabe Vincent, and they added Gabe Vincent. So with all of these pieces now being firm in there, on that team, having a full offseason, I think if they finish first in the West, second in the West, LeBron could win an MVP. Like that's in the realm of possibilities. Nah, that's it. The numbers are always, the MVP numbers are always there. If you look at what he averaged this year, it was something like 29, 9, and 8. That's every time you see
he'll be nominated.
Every time you see a person win an MVP, those are what his numbers look like. like it's nothing crazier than that.
No, I agree.
So if all it takes now, if with those numbers, all it literally takes is placement in the West. There's
someone always more flashier now. That's just always like that.
No, I just mean like all it takes.
That won't even be enough. That won't be enough.
The MVP is always placement and numbers. That's all the MVP is. Placement and numbers. Where did you place among the field, and what are your numbers? That's all the MVP is. Literally every single year. If that was
the case, I disagree with that, because if that was the case, Jokic would have won again this year. They didn't really care about where Philly was placed.
Philly was atop the East, though. That's what I'm saying. It's not like they were in the bottom of the mix. Majority of times when LeBron
but weren't they like fourth? Was Philly number one? No, they weren't number one, right?
Well, no, they were like third, but they were tied. They were tied for second, but the other team had.
Jokic was one. Like they were one in the West, dominated the West.
Well, because most cases, LeBron, all 4 of his MVP ones that he won, all of those 4 teams were number 1 in the East every single time. The two Miami ones he
Oh, for
got, they were
sure.
number one.
For
Were
sure.
number one. Yeah, when Giannis won his MVP, they were number one. When KD won his MVP with OKC, they were number one. That's just when Jokic won his MVP, they were number one.
Well, if
So
you
it's just
have the MVP in your team, more than
yeah.
likely you're a really, really good team. But
So I'm saying it does happen. I'm not saying it don't happen where a team is not number one and wins MVP.
yeah, well, it was Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid. It happened. It literally has happened.
It technically happens. I'm saying more times than not, you're atop the league.
Yeah.
Gotta be real.
My take on it is I expect him to be the same player. I don't really see any drop off. I don't think there's much to have in this conversation, really. I expect much of the same.
The highlight of the conversation is the fact that he's in year 21. That's the highlight of the topic at hand right now. There's no other player to ever play this game that at year 21 is playing atop the league. So it is insane what this guy is actually doing. It's kind of crazy how numb we've gotten to the fact that he's playing at this level at year 21. The fact that we're this without taking a break from the moment he stepped into today, no breaks, played every season, still playing at a high level is absolutely
that might
insane.
be the highlight. That might be the highlight.
So that is the highlight.
The question that's part of it. The other part is what do
just,
we expect? I expect much of the same. I expect what he did in year 20 to continue into year 21. There should be no drop off.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless he what I expect is the same. I would hope he plays more regular season games this year. I think seeding matters. I think
he's going to be able to play. I think he's going to be able to play more regular season games.
I don't think it's about that though. It's how much will they allow him to play? How much will they allow?
No. He's gonna want to play because he's going to want that team camaraderie. He's going to want to win games. What I'm saying.
I understand that, but it's really not up to him.
The load is not going to be heavy. And this is.
Do you think it's up to him though?
I'll make this one key point.
I do.
Okay. I'll make this one key point. I believe he is going, in a sense, it's going to sound a little crazy. In a sense, he's going to take a step back this season on the floor. Like those first 3 quarters, he's going to allow for things to materialize, things to happen out there. He's going to allow Austin Reeves to take 20 to 25 shots in the first 3 quarters. He's going to allow AD to do his thing. He's going to allow Gabe Vincent to do his thing. He's going to allow these guys. And in the 4th quarter, he's going to rev it up, finish the game strong, which will allow him to reserve energy, reserve effort. I think he has the roster now, especially.
I hope you're right.
Especially now, also with the point guard that they brought back, who is no scrub. He was a former All-Star. He's still very young. The lefty point guard. I think D'Angelo Russell. I think he has a roster now. Since the trade deadline from last year, finally now going into a regular season, he has the roster to play without playing hard all the time while he's on the court in order for his team to win. He can now. That's what you were saying. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I hope you're right because I think we've lost the sense of how important seeding is in the playoffs. I think these teams nowadays don't care about seeding. They just want to get into the dance and then. But
it proved even still that it mattered with this Denver team.
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Playing in the Mile High City with that high altitude affected those.
Not only that, there's also a big thing that these teams don't forget too. Your early round matchups matter in a sense where I don't want to take these series to 6-7 games. I want 4-0, 4-1. Let me rest. I want to play someone very easy in the first round.
Right. And everybody will agree. And everybody will agree.
Like that's where the real load management comes into play. Like you want to talk about if these owners and these players want to talk about load management, you want to end those series early.
But you also got to think about what it would take to get to that point, and that would mean playing hard for 82 game season.
That's what I'm saying. That's
not a good. So that point, kind of like, but it's just I'm just saying like the fans and like at your home court, everybody here has played sports. Everybody's here plays sports for. When you got that fan roaring like that, bro, it turns you into another. Like it makes you play better.
And when you're in the game, everybody knows that like that stuff in your head goes out the window. When you're immersed in the game and you're playing to win games.
That's not true. When your home court advantage fans bro. I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
No,
played.
I'm
I don't
not.
know if
No,
you ever
I'm
played.
not talking about that. I
Oh,
agree.
okay.
I agree with you there. That's what I'm adding on to it. Like with the load, I'm talking about like with your body. Like once you're in the game, seated mentally, that shit goes out the window. It goes out
That's
the
hard.
window.
I can't agree with that.
When you're playing at their level, yes, it does.
No, when you know
Bro,
they also label
Calvin Johnson literally just had a perfect documentary about this. He could not walk at home. When he got on that court, when he got on that field, everything changed.
but you
He
got to
was
realize
dragging his
also,
feet at home.
you gotta also realize though that you can't, in your mind, like you said, is saying one thing, but what your body is actually doing out there is another thing entirely. Like we have to understand that. Like just because your mind is like, all right, I can't think about the hurts and the nicks and the pains right now. When you come up short on a certain layup one time, or when you can't get in the lane on one possession when you're normally able to, you're not thinking about the injury. But those are the reasons that was why it happened. What is the next topic? We'll move on. 15 minutes.
Old school versus new school. Larry Bird versus KD.
Larry Bird. So this is a new segment that we're doing, and we're gonna do this every show. We're going to have this old school versus new school segment in whatever sport, whether it's football or basketball, and we're just gonna have fun with this, honestly, because there's a lot of old school, new school, talks that always go out there. Oh, old school would have been better. Oh, new school would have been better. Oh, like it's just fun to have. Like both, obviously, all these players that we're going to talk about is great players, so they're really all equal. Like Batman said in the last show, he hates the GOAT conversation because he just loves that all of these players are freaking great. Like, why are we having a debate on where they should be ranked? But it's fun to do, and so for fun purposes, and for analytical purposes too, we want to know, who, why they were great, and if they were possibly better than the next guy. This conversation that we're having today, old school versus new school, who are you taking, Larry Bird or Kevin Durant?
Start with me. I start this off. If you put Kevin Durant, wow, okay.
Who are you taking?
If I say, to me, they both even. Now, they both even. It's a hard pick because they both could shoot anywhere. They both have court sense. They both knock down their free throws, always in the 90s. Oh, man.
This is very easy, to be honest.
Go ahead, Batman. Finish your
Who
take.
would I
I don't
take?
see how it's easy, but
If I was a
great.
team, but see, you never seen Larry Bird.
I know it's hard. I try to tell King
You
that.
never
I
seen-
don't think it's fair for I don't think it's fair for me and
Why
King
did
to
you
rate
say
this.
this one is easy, and then go back and just say I don't want to have this conversation?
No.
Conversation.
Well,
Bird
I'm trying.
1-3.
I'm doing it based
Bird
on what he
3.
said. I'm doing it based off the information that he just provided to me. The stuff that he just said. The words that came out of his mouth, to me, that's all I needed to hear. It's very easy then.
Go ahead, Batman.
While he was comparing them together.
Bird got 3. What, Durant got, 2 championships? How many MVPs Durant has to Bird? Bird has more. How many All-Stars and gold medal? Well, Bird only got 1, but he only played 1. Larry Bird. Larry Bird.
And so, what brought you to that What brought you to that? What was the distinction that brought you to that answer?
Because you could talk shit to Durant, he'll cry in a corner. You could talk shit to Bird, and that's the worst thing you will ever do in your life.
That's
Ever.
true.
Ever. It's like talking shit to Michael Jordan. You be like this. Larry Bird be on his head because he had to play Larry Bird. Larry Bird bust his ass. And then they had switched Kevin McHale on Durant, skinny ass. Back in those days, Durant wouldn't have a chance in this league. He'll be a good player.
The only argument I ever have with when y'all bring up skinniness is like as if there weren't great skinny guys back then. Never.
Iceman Gervin.
Stop with the skinny. Like we gotta stop that. There were skinny guys that were great back then too.
No. The reason why I bring up skinny only with him. Doc was skinny just like him. You ever heard of Iceman George Gervin? He was probably skinny.
Exactly.
No, with the Iceman, you can't push around. You can't, and that's my point.
I think we underestimate KD's cerebral.
He can't.
Yeah. Oh, I
You
hear
can
you.
punk Durant. You can punk him. You can punk him. The Iceman, Julius Ervings. I can name so many.
Was Larry Bird ever the best player in the NBA? Like,
at one time,
like was he ever number one?
I won't
when
say.
he was MVP,
I mean, when you win MVP, I guess of that season, you was number one.
the MVP
How many
season,
MVPs does Kevin Durant have?
One.
Kevin Durant, I
One.
think one
He was only the best player in his league one time.
time. How many champions did he have? Two. When he went
See,
to the
that's not. See, no, we can't.
That's
do
not
that.
the only reason. That's not the only
Can't do
reason.
that.
That's just
I'm just saying,
that's just a thorn.
No, I'm saying the only reason why we can't do that is because it's been years. Just because you win an MVP, let's understand, a lot of it goes towards team success. If you have a great team, there is somebody else in the league that's better. That doesn't mean that you're the best player in the league. Joel Embiid won MVP this year. I would not say he's the best basketball player in the entire NBA. So it's just like I can't.
But we said for that season. We did say
For
that season.
Okay, for that season, he played the best basketball that
That's what
season.
I said.
That's what we were saying.
That's what we say.
Okay.
For that season, Bird won 3. Bird won 3 championships. Bird went to every All-Star game he ever played in the NBA. Even when he's 100, they said Bird is on the All-Star team. Bird can shoot from anywhere. Anywhere. Bird will take you to the hole. Bird will fight you. Period. Julius Erving swung at a miss. Bird was in his ass. And I'm a big Doc
Forget
fan.
what he did to everybody in the 3-point contest too, huh?
And he won.
It was
every time he
embarrassing.
played in the 3-point contest. And
Talking
when
shit.
he had the winning
Missing
shot,
on purpose. Missing on purpose.
and he on the winning shot, all he had to do is make a. He was down by 2. And the last basketball he had, down by 2. When he shot it, he pointed his hand up to the air and said number 1 and said, "So what?" Everybody have a nice day. Get your popcorns and everything in the recession stands. And I'll see you tomorrow in the All-Star game.
I love it. I love it. This might surprise people, this take.
It's not going to surprise me.
New school, this might surprise you because y'all know how much I love our players. You know how much I believe our players are more cerebral than of the players of the past from a physical standpoint, physical freak standpoint, jumping out the freaking gym, talent, more ability, more skill, more talent. But this one, I'm gonna say if I had to choose a player starting the team, I would go Larry Bird. And now let me understand. Let me be clear. Both
you want me to go first, King?
And I'll just end it. I'll end it.
Because you're going to be a lot more analytical than I am.
No. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Both these players are obviously all world. Both these players are top 15 players to ever touch a basketball, right? But let me also make this point. By no means am I saying as great as a player Larry Bird was, am I saying he is a better player than Kevin Durant. If I could have, like Batman said, if I can have Bird's mentality, give me Kevin Durant's game all day long. All day long. Like, I will take the player that Kevin Durant is over the player that Larry Bird is if Kevin had the, if I could
I disagree.
If I could take the mentality of Bird and give it to Kevin Durant. And the reason why I say that is for 2 reasons. Captains, leadership. A lot of Bird, that is a underestimated intangible that Bird possessed. One of the best leaders in basketball. He just was, man. He just knew he just knew how to, how to galvanize, lead teams to championships. He had great players in Kevin McHale and Parrish. He did amongst other names. But he was the leader of that team, and he did it by example, and he did it by word. Kevin Durant does it by example with his work ethic, but when it comes down to what it, you know, and I know this now being in the field of counseling and psychology, knowing the right words to say to get players to play at a high level, that's a gift. That's not something you can just, just learn how to do overnight, or like, it's a gift to speak life into people, and get people playing at a high level, get people playing the game as a team a certain way, in which I think Larry Bird did at a much higher level than Kevin Durant does. Kevin Durant is the type of guy, and that's why he was a beautiful fit for Golden State, because all he had to do was be Kevin Durant. That's it. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. That is all he had to do.
Just play ball.
All he had to do. So if the question was, would I take Kevin Durant on Golden State with that Golden State roster, or Larry Bird on Golden State with that Golden State roster, it'll be Kevin Durant, because I already got the mind, the system, the camaraderie. I got all that already. All I just need is the great player. So give me Kevin Durant in that situation. But if I had a weaker team, if I didn't have if I didn't have such a great coaching staff, like where the organization was everything was already in place, we're already champions, we're already a great team. Give me Larry Bird.
Forget situations. Who's better? Who's better?
Well, go ahead,
and the reason why I say Larry Bird, but the reason why I say he's the better individual, the reason why I say it is because I think his leadership qualities, on top of obviously the arsenal that was his offensive game, which was insane. He was the better rebounder. He was the dirtier player. He played in the trenches. He was physical for a white guy. He was physical. He rebounded, and he can light you up. And on top of that, we all know his history. Everybody, like when he came into the league with Magic, they tried to paint this. They say the NBA was saved by Larry and Magic because they was able to play that race card of separate and race. But we all know Larry, at heart, he's of this culture, like of black culture. We know it. Like you look on the playgrounds when he was growing up, he played with nothing but black dudes. Like that's all he played with. And then when he got, to the league, he was scoffing at, the white players by saying like, yo, why would you put a white player on me? Good and darn well, this dude not going to be able to guard me. There's multiple. He did it with Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley came out and said, yo, I was on Philadelphia 76ers. And I remember one time he looked over at Doc and said, yo, Doc, why you got this dude on me? He's like, who? He's like, a white player. In front, and they was like, yo, what the heck? And he did that on multiple occasions every time they put it. So it's just these things that just lets me know, let's not act like he's your typical white athlete. Nah, this dude was the real deal as an athlete, as a talent, and as a mind, and as a leader. And to me, the accolades are there, like Batman said, 3 titles, 3 MVPs. It just goes on and on and on, the accolades. And so leadership purposes, that's the distinct difference from me. Gator?
I'm gonna go Larry Bird. I think it was a lot. Just hearing what Batman was saying about like when he was comparing the two. One also something that really stuck out. Like he kept comparing the two, and a lot of them they had a lot of similarities. But to me, because of how similar skill wise they are, I have to personally go with the player that is gonna make everybody else around him better.
Thank you.
And that's why I'm going Larry Bird. I can use this. I don't like bringing hockey up because it's hard. It's hard to. Hockey and basketball are very similar in a lot of things. There's literally a thing in basketball called a hockey. Like they say hockey assist. Like in basketball, they'll use that term. Like, oh, he just got a hockey assist, meaning somebody else set up the play before somebody set up the play way before.
Pass.
Yeah,
to a pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would even in like when we compare Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby in hockey, it's very similar. Ovechkin's the guy that's gonna score 60 goals in a season. He's gonna be the one putting the ball in. Like we know KD like as a scorer, is one of the best scorers in NBA history. Like, if you need a bucket, you give it to KD. If you need somebody to score a goal, if you need somebody to score a basket, we're going Ovechkin and Kevin Durant. But if we're talking about
Larry Bird was.
whoa, let me finish. Let me finish.
I'm just saying
Let
that's
me
a
finish.
That's almost a bad example because Larry Bird was just as
Whoa,
cerebral
let me finish.
in a lot of ways.
Let me finish. Sidney Crosby can score goals as well as Larry Bird can score buckets. We're not, but we're still comparing them. We're still comparing them. It's a fair comparison. So, like, Sidney Crosby can score a fuck ton of goals if he wants to as well, but he's just a playmaker. He's gonna score a bunch of goals. He's gonna set up a lot of people. He's gonna set up he makes Sidney Crosby is a better player, hockey player, because he makes everybody around him better. Larry Bird, some of the passes I've seen Larry Bird make just in the highlight reel, it's just what?
Unbelievable.
Like what? He's playing games with the defenders out there. He makes everybody around. Larry Bird makes everybody around him better. That's why I gotta go with Larry Bird.
Not only with this play, but also with his leadership and with words he says that he makes everybody better as well. So it's a double thing that's working on that as well.
And that's why I said it's not really close to me.
We finally all agreed on a take.
But that's why I said it's not really close to me, because I think Kevin Durant's game is so one-dimensional. He's one of the craziest scorers we've ever seen.
Yeah,
but like Larry Bird's a better basketball player, like that.
Yeah, I think so. And we all agreed on something that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
We gotta time manage these shows better. I know it's nice and I know it's nice and fluid, but do you know how many topics we left off? Some good topics.
So and let's make sure those topics is on the next show.
Yeah, they'll definitely be on the next show.
This is a free flowing sports show, and where it's authentic in the sense that there's no real
definitely authentic
time management. If we're in the midst of a conversation and we got 8 people in here and that's the topic that's gravitating, that has everybody excited, we gonna harp on it. We ain't gonna just move on like I don't want to put anybody, like sports shows has to do. If we feel as though a topic is exciting, we're gonna harp on it and we're gonna flush it out fully. And so we're gonna make sure those topics that we missed out on today is definitely on the next show. And as far as today goes, that was another beautiful show, and we're gonna make sure we get those posted on our social medias, those takes. But it was another beautiful show today, man. Those topics were amazing. We finally agreed on something. Batman, thank you as always. Thank you, Batman. Thank you for your presence on the show. Thank you.
Before we head out, let's talk about what we got coming up, man. I mean, NFL season's upon us. NBA season is upon us. Stick around. It's about to get even crazier. Like we just getting started over here. It's not even officially the NFL or NBA season yet, and we ramping up these topics.
And there are a lot of production plans in place. There are a lot of segment plans in place. There are a lot of new fun fan engagement things in place. So I mean, the show is growing every single day. The more we learn, the more the show grows, the more fan engagement is going to happen. And we got the UnderBigDog portals that are being built as we speak. And so make sure we get into those UnderBigDog portals so that you can continue to get the notifications when we're live, when we have something new, when we got something going on. Everything is in the works. And again, this is just the beginning. So everybody that's with us right now, we thank you for I don't want to say the hard days. These are beautiful days. These are the beginning. It's beautiful. But where we're headed, it just stay tuned. It's a beautiful thing. Batman, as always, thank you. Thank you for your service too, Marine. Thank you, Batman.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Yo, Gator.
Yes, sir.
As we say, peace out. Gator, where you from, brother?
I'm from Jersey, but I've been living in. But I hate to say that because I've been living in PA most of my life now. But when I lived in Jersey for the first 13 years.
That's Batman too. Don't let him confuse you.
My dad's from New York.
He's from the Bronx, but he be claiming repping Brooklyn.
My dad's from New York.
on the block that I'm on right now.
How long you lived in the Bronx?
I lived in the Bronx when we left with about 3 months. Do that count? As 3 months.
My
Okay.
dad's from
If
New York.
anything, you can say Harlem. You would probably try to throw a Harlem at me.
But the Bronx
But
was too far.
I
Brooklyn
think my
is
dad.
where-
I think my dad lived in. I
Okay.
think it was Brooklyn. To be honest, my dad lived in New York for a long period of his
Did
life.
you already cut us, or we still live? You cut
No,
us,
we're
right?
still alive. We're still alive.
You can cut it. You can cut
Everybody
it,
saying
Gator.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Everybody, take it
Welcome
easy.
back, man.
You can cut it, Gator. Good job.